Hello, everybody. Mm-mm. Hello, a girl. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. December 27th. Welcome. Cricket Cinema, good to see you. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas. Mm-hmm. Good morning, David. Sir Elston, good. Multiple time made man around these parts. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you so much. Just turn it on the fan. Uh, I had to restart to be able to say hi. Um, so anyway, I thought a Q&A would be a good idea because I always forget to do them. And quite often I don't see a lot of questions until later. And, you know, this way it's just an easy format. So, you know, any questions you have about growing up in a Scientology family, a highly trained OT family, where we're all in the academy, doing our thing. Um, it's uh, and what that entails and day to day to whatever, you know, um, any questions you have. And yeah, I mean, you can ask any question. Doesn't mean I'm going to answer it. I'm sure there could be questions I'm not comfortable with even going, but we'll see. I'm saying ask away, Um, um, and because I know you guys also watch. I mean, this is not your normal typical chat, and I mean you guys are very very hip to a ton of what the cult does and has to offer, and so any questions you have, it wouldn't even have to come like just from my family, but if you had a question about how anything works, how things would be looked at by a highly trained OT Scientology family, I can tell you. Okay. Um, it's all, it's everything's absolutely, and it couldn't be any crazier. So, ask away. Um, Cricket, where did the amazing blue cat behind you come from? um, I don't know. It just spoke to me. I got it from the interwebs. Um, I love black light stuff, and I just thought it was hysterical. I mean, it pretty much was what I needed. I mean, this was what was in my head. Why did the woman divorce the grape? Oh, flat pack furniture. All right. Let's hear it from Magnus. Swedish meatballs. We only took niacin. I grew up in a health food family. My father was insane. He had us take like 25 tablets twice a day. We'd have like 4 liver tablets, a couple brewer's yeast, kelp, B1, 6, 12, zinc, calcium, C, on and on and on. And yet we never had niacin, which really was weird to me because my father was an absolute freak about that kind of stuff. So I was always sort of wondering what the deal was with that because, like, my father never took niacin. So I don't know. Like, my father was one of those super culty dudes, but at the same time, there were some things that he had to be. He had to be. He would have to figure out how to work. Like, my father hated cigarettes, right? He thought they were the worst thing ever, and only an idiot would smoke them. But so somehow he had to make himself believe that LRH was fine smoking 9 packs of Cools a day. LRH was getting enough asbestos in his lungs every day, um, to make a screen door. But somehow my dad he would be like, oh, he just as is it while he smokes it or some kind of just what? And he's like, and you wouldn't know and I wouldn't know because he's OT fucking 15 or 32, whatever. Right? Let me make sure I go to the top here so I see if there's any questions before that one. Okay. Why did the woman? But yeah, so all I know about niacin is what I was, told in the Purif that it gets like basically the radiation. That's what's coming out of you. Such a load of crap. And in conjunction with the oils and the vitamins and the work, the sauna and all that, it would be good for you. Like he was just basically okay. I mean, must be what it is. But other than that, like no one ever told me anything. I never read anything what niacin does. It was always just so yeah, that's a good question. But I only took it on the Purif. I never took it before the Purif, and I never took it again. They were kicking my ass. I know I was in 20,000 milligrams or some stupid thing by the time we were done. There we go. Hang in there, guys. Here we go. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. NJS, good morning. How hard was it to trust people and love again after such abuse? It was in a weird way. It wasn't really that hard at first because, like, I was so happy to be out of that I was such a happy guy that I attracted that kind of people loved me. Like I was making friends all day, every day, and the people that were I was told my whole life have it against me, were the nicest people in the world. And when I sort of became part of regular society, if you will, um, at like 20 years old, um, it was really easy. It was really easy. Like people were so nice. No one was looking to turn me in. No one was. Um, there was no stress. There was no pressure. I mean, there was. You're still trying to pay the bills and whatever. But I'm saying, like, compared to what it used to be, it was a nothing burger. That's a good question, NJS. Um, and I didn't. I was just having fun for a few years there. Like I wasn't even trying to. I was just so happy to make friends and all of a sudden I had 50 friends who had no idea about Scientology. It was fantastic. Oh, what a cool question. A girl says, did auditors have to eat a certain food? If you audit, do you do a diet? No, you're just supposed to be well fed and rested. That's all. Before you come in to do any kind of service, whether you're getting it or giving it, you're supposed to. Part of you know, playing your cards correctly is you're supposed to be well fed and well rested. So, but you can eat whatever. I mean, I also thought that was a little ridiculous as a kid, and this is something that I bet you no adult looked at all, but as a kid I did. I'm like, you're supposed to be well fed and rested, yet I knew so many Sea Org members who, you know, almost never ate anything and lived on coffee and cigarettes and creamer. I mean, they lived on it and they got no sleep. So I'm just sort of like, obviously, the policy that states you must be well rested and well fed doesn't mean shit if you're in the Sea Org. I mean, I always thought that was weird. Definite trouble source. So good to see you, Erica. Yeah, I gotta look into what niacin really does. I'm afraid to know. Look at the button. Thank you. Touch the button. Niacin hid pot. Someone told you that? That's so funny. And by the way, I have no idea. I don't know. Like I said, I don't even know what niacin does outside of kick your butt. I don't know. Um, so the common Erica says the common niacin at high doses makes you flush. I mean, when I first started, the first 100 milligram tablet kicked my ass, and then it just it keeps going down, and they keep upping it. But I've heard it's actually really, really harmful for you. That's one thing my mother, was a nurse who looked into it extensively, told me. But I can't say to you because I don't remember really anything about it. It was way over my head, and it wasn't even a question I asked. It's just something I was overhearing her talk about. And um, I think anything at ridiculous dosages probably isn't that good for you. You know what I mean? So, because I felt so horrible on the Purif, it was incredible. I felt like crap. Ugh. But yes, I mean, all we read, all LRH ever told us about niacin is it gets the from the sun, from the television, from everything, all the radiation out of you. But he got an F. He did one semester of nuclear blah blah and got an F. Like this guy was the worst student ever. I have no reason to believe he had any idea what he was talking about regarding anything. So he called himself a nuclear physicist because he got an F in one semester. That's amazing. Um, plays several crucial roles in the body. Niacin, James Steele says, plays several crucial roles in the body, including energy production. It helps convert food into energy by synthesizing coenzymes like NAD and NADP. Okay. Um, Sheppy, good morning. Would you ever consider writing a book about your experience? Um, it's just too painful. If I had to put myself there, like I've already, just what I've gone through doing this was way more than I thought, and so now I'm a lot more respectful of those memories because they're not good, um, and it's really hard on me. So I can let people know how horrible Scientology is to a child and why, and not have to get it, not have to do that. But you never know. Who knows? Maybe. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. Sorry, that's a horrible answer. But niacin made me feel absolutely horrible. Ugh. Because that flush would be coming on as you ran. Like I'd run around blue twice, and then so my heart's going, and I'm flushing like a dog, and you're hot, and then you're going straight into the sauna. Whew. Hey girl, I don't know what's going on with your typing this morning because it seems like you're having some kind of convulsions. I don't know what you're doing here. Did you give in questions to ask in real? Was there a I don't was there a list? Did anyone give you questions to ask? I don't know what you're talking about. You know I love you. I have no you have to you got to do better. I don't know. I don't have any idea what that means. Phoenix Book Girl, good morning. Um, oh, Joel, about my cat. It was bad news with Hopi. I thought everything was going to be perfectly fine. You know, she's 10 years old, but she has a bad heart murmur. 6 being the worst, 0 being the best. It's a 4. She has thyroid problems. She's overweight. So hopefully, with if I can get the thyroid problem fixed, you know, that's her weight will come right down, especially dieting. So, and that could hopefully fix the murmur. You know what I mean? But she has a couple bad teeth too, and so I have to. So we did $400 worth of, you know, the checkup, her shots, her blood work was like 4 something yesterday, and then I got to spend 1,500 on an echocardiogram, whatever. So because they need to see if she is strong enough to for anesthesia to pull some for some extractions. So, and then Monday I'm spending $2,000 on Roxy to get those extractions, and whew, yeah, this is about a $6,000 or $7,000 if I'm you know, if I'm lucky. So this sucks. But obviously, the money's secondary. I love my babies, and I'm so PTSD taking my cats to the vet. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, it just drives me crazy. It's like, and not for like, I'm not because of the money, just to hear bad news. It's just like, shit. And I lost my last cat at 10, so I'm already freaking out. In fact, my last cat, I had to put her down a week after I had her teeth cleaned. For $1,500. Uh, anyway, it was all bad news. But I mean, I hope it all ends up good, obviously. Yeah. Right, Lori Marie? 2,000, 2,100. Okay. So then, and then with the echogram and that's another. So I'll be at 4,000. And then 6,000. Four. Yeah. This is this is crazy. This is so crazy. And that's just where we're at now is 7 grand. So incredible. Thank you, Lori. Anyway, yeah, so and she hasn't even come out this morning. And she barfed, which is not good. They told me to look out for it if she barfed. I mean, I'm just like, what the? Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But they're the best things in the world, and besides you guys, they're my family. You know. Hey, Trent, nice to see you. Um, hey, girl, rewrite your question because I can't figure out what that was. What were you trying to say or ask? Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You know what? There's something goofy with my mouse because I'll click it one time and it'll skip a whole thing of. I need another mouse. Did you get questions to ask the person you were auditing? Yes, yes. You don't. There's no freelance. You're not just. Every process has a set list of questions and what you do and why and when and you know. When you say did they feed you, are you asking like what did I have something in my ear or something or but the answer would be no. It just there's questions that every process has. And you know what I hate? You know how you can tell my life was shit because I still say process whenever I think of Scientology because of stupid LRH. If I'm not thinking about Scientology and I saw that word, I would say process 100 out of 100 times. How wacky is that? Um, yeah, I know, Joel. I'm gonna try to be positive until I can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, like right now, I'm still hoping it's basically I'm going to find out that her heart is okay. Well, first, okay, I get the blood work back today. We're going to find out what the thyroid is doing, right? So if I can, um, I guess there would be medicine, and that would help. She would lose weight like this, and it would all be good, and that would help her heart too. But in the meantime, I have to spend 1,500 in the next few days on this echocardiogram, so we can find out if her heart's strong enough for anesthesia to have her teeth worked on. And if so, then that's another 1,500, 2 grand, whatever, right? So, Jesus. David, I saw a presentation regarding cults using language to fence people in. Galaxy, galaxy. Uh, that's one of the most douche chilling, horrible, spooky feelings I get thinking about growing up in this shit. Was on course. Because another thing is why it's everything's set up purposefully, right? So you have no excuses because you know everything, and you're an out ethics dog, and that's why you're not getting gains and things aren't going perfectly. It's never that things aren't being delivered standardly or whatever. It's always your ass. So going up the bridge, it's really clever to make sure there are no excuses. This is all you, okay? And so they're really clever about that. And so by the time you start getting, like when I was fast flow, that was the best day ever, right, in Scientology, because it's like, yeah, no more checkouts. On a check sheet, anything that has a star, right, you have to ask a supervisor to come, and then they will check you out on that policy, on that bulletin, okay? And they'll say, what's the definition of this? And they'll just spot check and ask words. And if you can immediately tell them what it means and use them in sentences, you're all good. Continue. But when you finish the student hat and the Method 1 co-audit, you become what's called fast flow. Now you do not need to be star rated. So it's the greatest thing ever. So now I was able to bullshit my way straight through a bunch of stuff because it's ridiculous, right? You think I actually looked up to find out what some of these archaic crap things that LRH would always bring up for no reason except to stall you? No. I just kept on going. But what happened was, by the time I was on the NED course, the New Aerodynamics course, I was so close to just being absolutely done with the idea of Scientology. Like, there's no way this can be real. There's no way this can be real. The only reason why I wasn't 100% sure, okay, that it was bogus was because of my mom and sister being OT, right? So I'm just like, that's the only reason I wasn't running down the hall screaming bullshit, okay? Because I just couldn't believe my mom and sister would be, how could they be in this if it was? So you see how screwed I was, okay? But as far as me personally believing this crap, I'd be listening to tapes and that LRH drone would just, you can't possibly pay attention for longer than 10, 12 minutes when you're, right? And so sometimes, because I had this whole thing that I would do where I would just every 5 minutes I'd chuckle, and then every 10 minutes, just for the hell of it, I'd be like, oh, and then I would stop, because they were on reel to reel, all the lectures. So I'd stop it, click, right, click, and then click, click, rewind it, could, right? And then I'd be like, the way you survive in Scientology is with what's called good indicators. That's how you avoid all problems. Okay? So, anyway, I had this whole thing that I did that was just on autopilot. But I would freak out like after 45 minutes and I'd be like, oh shit. And I couldn't remember one single word of the lecture. And that never happened to me with when I would be reading. Like I could read the most boring, stupid, which they all were, policy letters and Hubbard Communication Office bulletins, the red on white, and the policy letters are green on white. Anyway, that never happened to me. But on the lectures, it scared the hell out of me because I was like, I couldn't have answered one question regarding it. I don't even know what he's talking about. I'm so bored. It's like my mind couldn't pay attention. I swear to God. Oh, it was so scary. Buttercup, good morning. Linda, good morning. My baby's in here. Hi, Cheryl. Bill Ferruni, good morning to you. My baby. And I will say, Galaxy pronunciation and grammar stimulated. Mima. Love you, Mima. Yeah, so having our own language. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Lori Marie. Thank you. Let's get some hearts. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Yeah. So, hi, Rennie. Hi, Rennie's mom. Appreciate you. Lori Marie said, I just cannot understand why people are still joining any cult. There is so much information out there about cults. I think it's more about being in a group. Like, and I could be 100% wrong. I'm just saying this is what I feel. Like, nothing to me is more fascinating from what I have in this last 2 years than really stopping to take a look at the independent Scientologists. That's the people who believe that Miscavige is a POS, not a COB, and that without him and a bunch of nonsense, the tech itself is actually still of value and can support people. And I'm sort of I feel like I hated how Scientology made fun of and belittled every other thing out there. And they were happy to do it in my day. It was not even something they hid at all, okay? It was always like pity on the, Christians or the this or the that, because obviously you have no clue what you're doing. And you're just literally wasting your time. When it couldn't have been more the opposite, right? So it was like Projection Jones everywhere, but I always figured like the having your own language, okay, like there's a certain safety in that, I can talk to somebody and they can talk to me. And even if you were listening, you'd have no idea what we said. Okay. So that was sort of cool, I guess. But just being in a group is so powerful. And I've learned that even from the 2 years in this, what I thought, like, we have a family, okay, and it's amazing. And I can't be more grateful. But what I used to consider the community, these were all people that didn't give a shit about anti-Scientology. They were just here for chaos and to support blowhard nitwits. So, like, if you noticed, the parasocial relationships were more important to a lot of people than carrying through with why they showed up here to begin with, which was to uplift and support survivors, right, of a horrible cult. The group or the friends they made became more important to them, to the point that they would even look the other way or even support people trying to hurt us, okay, trying to actually get rid of us. And there are survivors, use that term very loosely, they're psychopaths, but that are attacking us, trying to destroy us. And they call themselves anti-Scientology, but all day, every day, all they do is attack those who actually are trying to do what they can to make life harder for the cult. Okay. So that's how strong people like being a part. That's how powerful getting a group is, even a tiny one. So you can imagine what happens in a cult. Imagine those same weirdos that came here to support us and now give money to those who attack us. Fucking Nimrods. Okay. These Nimrods. Those are the people who join cults. Because it was more important just to have a couple friends in their miserable life that aren't even friends. It's parasocial horseshit. But the fact is, that's all they got. They don't have anything else. Okay? It's not like how you guys are here for me, and I feel it, and you guys are loving and amazing and look after me, and you guys are unbelievable. Okay? It's real. I'm talking about bullshit relationships where, blah, blah, a Miscavige's toothbrush likes me. Like, who? So that's how powerful that shit is. So imagine when it's 50 times greater, okay? And then look at the independent Scientologists. Like, I love the Peeling the Onion channel. I love that channel because I get to hear stories there's honestly no way for me to ever hear. I'm so grateful for that channel because it's just amazing, the stuff I get to hear, okay? From Janice and Mark and the guests that they have. And I'm all for an adult doing whatever you want to, religious-wise, okay? If you want to pray to a tennis racket, I'm fine with it. I honestly am. I don't care. If you're happy, I'm happy, okay? If you're not hurting anybody, whatever. So on one hand, I don't care, like, if someone's but I know too much about Scientology, and it just doesn't make any sense to me to say, okay, as long as Miscavige is not involved, I'll walk around a dark track with an LED light in the middle until I have this amazing cognition that allows me to stabilize my exteriorizations. What? I mean, are you literally mad? Because you'd have to be to get through OT7. The reason you don't go insane during OT7. You have to be insane to do OT7. That's the difference, okay? It doesn't make you crazy. Like, you have to be crazy to do it. There are no clusters of drugged out body thetans anywhere on me, okay? Never has been, never will be. So I have to create it. Now I'm locating it. Now I'm speaking to it. Now I'm getting it to move on. None of that happened. But I wrote down the time, place, form, event, e-meter readings, everything ever. I'm making it all up and handing a load of bullshit in every day. And the case supervisor knows it's bullshit because he or she already did that level and nothing happened. They still can't remember where they put my other folder. Okay, so it's just complete nonsense. So to me, It also shows you the power that if you can get someone studying something, I don't care what it is, if you can get someone to study something for years and years, you can come out and tell them you made it up and they won't believe you. Um, I always thought being a history professor was really a gamble, a serious gamble, because the only way you know anything about history, right? And with human interactions, I'm saying is you got to take people's word for it, and then you got to make a lot of assumptions on stuff you see and don't hear or read. Okay, so you're taking a lot of words and then a lot of assumptions, and that becomes history. Okay, I'm not talking about 50 years ago. I'm talking about 500 years ago. People can't even find Elvis's original fried chicken recipe today. No one can agree on what's the original. So my point is, only rich people had anything to do with history, right? A regular person would never be able to afford the tools and the materials with which to write. And only a couple out of 100 people were even able to. So it's like, if so in other words, you only heard from the rich people. History was brought to us by by the wealthy or the victors, right? That's like saying history when you only heard, like if you're let's say you're a divorce attorney and you only hear the dude. You never get to hear the lady's side. It just, is that really history? It's his story, but is it history? So, you know what I'm saying? So if you spend 10, 20 years, okay, studying history, and let's say someone comes out and shows new and proves everything we were told, everything was bullshit. And they proved it. There would still be an enormous amount of people who would say, no, that's the bullshit. This is the BS narrative. What I studied for 30 years, I know is factual. Okay? Because they would not be able to take the L, the monster L that you got to take to just swear off all that crap. I had no problem doing it. I was happy to do it. Nothing felt better than to just turn my back on Scientology and not give another crap ever. Wonderful. Okay? But there's a lot of people who don't feel that way, and you can see it. Okay? It's the same people who want that extra. It's so weird. It's the weirdest flex ever. But now you're not in Scientology, but when you were a class 12 OT8 and the other person worked at the galley cleaning dishes. I hate to tell you, but outside of Scientology, you're exactly the same person. Exactly, except I would admire the galley worker because I know that the galley worker probably had a little bit more free time, a little bit more fun. It was a lot easier to be yourself there than it would have been as an OTA class 12. So, but it's a lot harder for the OTA class 12 to understand and believe. Yes, this is bullshit. So what they do is they go, okay, a lot of it's bullshit, but there's a lot of good there. And I've used this and this and this to my advantage. I know personally it works. Because again, when you're in a cult, and especially one that dictates this, anything good happens to you, it's because you're applying Scientology even if you don't know it. If something good happened to you, that's why it happened. You were applying LRH to, you just didn't even know it. High five. Um, so, like, I have seen many Scientologists give credit to Scientology when it's the fact that they work their ass off to get something done. But they'll be like, ever since I read Problems of Work, dude, you're working 12 hours a day. You know, come on. Oh, thank you, James. Believe me, I need it. Thank you. Thank you so much, James. Hearts for James, please. Um, and I think it's like, okay, like my father had, like he was super culty, right? And so he liked the super culty people. Like I told my baby Cheryl, I said, I really believe my father would have loved her father. I think her father would have eventually kicked my father to the curb because his ass was talking shit and not doing anything. Where Cheryl's father was actually on course, okay, on the bridge. But for at least a few years, I think, because they were hardcore, you know, to the letter, to the syllable. Why cult if you ain't gonna cult, right? And Scientology allowed for that high control and to make yourself right. Um, it really served a lot of purposes, you know, for people who just love control. Um, you know, but it's weird because what you take someone like my dad and Cheryl's dad, they would have talked to each other about all kinds of things that didn't happen to either of them, but they would both agree are 100% real, attainable, and eventualities. Okay? I know that sounds insane, and it is, but that's what happens in a cult. Okay? That's what happens. Um, and I think you miss that desperately if you don't have it. Like you need those, they call them terminals in Scientology. You need those people that can understand your nonsense and agree and be like, yes, you know, it makes everything like right in your world, you know. And in the independent Scientology movement, it just looks like there's like no one wants to throw away all of that knowledge. And so they try to see like what can I take out of here that might have some value, you know? And so I don't say I wasted every minute, you know, and I did get a lot of gains. But what I don't get is I mean, if you don't get even 1/10 of the gains you're supposed to get, not even 5% of the gains you're supposed to get, why would you even attribute it? Why would you attribute the good to Scientology? Like, that's obviously just happenstance. Like, in other words, I've always said something good happened to you in spite of Scientology. Okay? Hey, Force. Um, you know, so uh I just think having that relationship is so important because you go from like a important person who has all the answers to just another dipshit who wasted a ton of time and money. No one's in a hurry to get in that line. You know what I mean? So that's what I think independent Scientology does is it allows you to keep those like friendships and not make each other wrong about, you know, can you believe we spent 25 fucking years and all our money on this nonsense? And now they're like, oh, now it's only $25 to go clear versus 100,000. I mean, I don't know what they charge, but I'm saying $1 is way too much. It's all crazy, dangerous, unworkable, and stupid. And if you know the clear cog, how could you ever audit anyone ever? What's the point? Just tell them the cog and let's move on. Why would we audit? What's the point? I got to audit you until you think of that? Why don't they just tell you? You know? Insane. Yeah, David, your fathers could have been each other's TC and DM for sure. For sure. For sure. Hi, Grandma Janet. Yeah, so I think that camaraderie is actually becomes more important to people than anything else. And I've seen a lot of people get their businesses completely attached to Scientology. You know, where like 100% of their business is coming from Scientology. Are you going to give that up too? You know, so, you know, or you can, you know, and Scientology, a lot of rules aren't written. You just know them if you've been around a while, okay? Like, you know that you could still be welcome at every event. You can walk into any org. It's all good if you never say a word, a bad word. If you never say a bad word, you can go back to the org anytime you want, no problem, okay, for anything. Even if you've been off lines for a decade, it doesn't matter. Just shut your mouth and you can move on. But that's not written anywhere, okay? But you just know that, right? And so I never said a word outside, but I never went back in, you know, after 20 years old. I don't think. Or I did. I did the student hat maybe at 23 or 2 or something. That's because it was free. I didn't pay for the student hat retread, and I didn't pay for the Purif. You know. Those were actually purchased for me by my boss at the time, who was another idiot, OT8 dipshit. I knew for a fact by the time I was 16, this stuff was complete crap. But I also knew I had to shut up forever. So, you know. Rennie, perfect. Bingo. Excuse me, guys. Rennie said, Eric, did you do that so that your mom and sister wouldn't have to disconnect? And that's exactly it. What I didn't know until the last year to 6 months of my mom and my sister's life, because they died within like 3-4 days of each other in December of 22. And, you know, everyone was afraid that they'd be the one who would F it all up. That's why when I look back, I just wish I had either a mental breakdown or the balls to have just told my mom, look, this is bullshit. I ain't doing it another day. You could throw me out on the street, whatever. I ain't going back there. I'm done, you know. Because my mom would have been like, F yes. And that would have started we would have been the hell out of there. Okay? But my mom was scared shitless. She goes, do you realize what I felt like? You know, I put you guys there and paid for it. and your sister's on the St. Hill Special Briefing course, and you're on New Era Dynetics, you guys could have easily told me, you're out ethics, mom, beat feet, And she's just like, there's no way in hell that was happening to me. No, 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 no. So we were all on the same page. But, what if it didn't go well? Like, that's the whole point. Like, she wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to do that. And then my sister never was able to get out from underneath. Like, she was still working for Scientologists. My sister never even had she never got a social security number. Nothing. Okay? I don't even know how she traveled. She went to 100 countries. She had 2 passports that were completely filled up, and then on her 3rd one. I don't know how she did anything. But I knew I wasn't going to be the one to screw her up. There was no way in hell that was going to happen. So, hi, Caitlin. Religious exception, yeah. Yeah, my mom was like, she thought for sure we would have dumped her. So yeah, I mean, that's just, but I really believe that the group dynamic is more important to people than anything. I think it's far senior to the tech because no one ever got any gains. What gains did you get? You were able to publicly speak a little bit better. You didn't shy away from the microphone or so what? So what? Who cares if you can public speak if you have nothing to say? Who gives a shit? And you don't think for yourself in Scientology. It's not like you use Scientology to get better. No, you use Scientology, period. Period. Right? But no one really does that. Just like any religion. You pick and choose whatever, works for you, and da 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 da. Right? And like I said, I don't care. I'm not trying to belittle. I know it probably doesn't sound right. I'm not trying to belittle the independent Scientologists at all. I'm all for them doing what they want to do. They're adults, okay, and they already put 40 years in. Who am I to say you shouldn't do another 5 years or 10 years till you croak or whatever? Who cares? Go ahead, do it. Knock yourself out. But like again, I don't think it's because any of them believe in the gains, because none of them know a single person who ever got gain 1 from being cleared. You got to be kidding me. Look at what you're supposed to get and look at what you got. Do not tell me those reconcile. And then 100 times worse on the OT levels. Okay? Ridiculous. So, but I just think it's having those, not having to take the L, not having to throw away 99% of what you've learned in your life. Like, you could have cured cancer with the time and energy you spent studying every word from that madman drug addict loser. Okay? I get it. It's a hell of an L. It's a hell of an L to take. I am not lying. I totally understand why a lot of people can't do it. I am not even lying. I get it. I get it. People just don't want to give it up, Yeah, Rennie, that was amazing. The last 6 months with my mom and sister, we incessantly said "I love you." We hugged for 2 minutes. We hugged while we were talking. It was just like, all the stuff we never did, you know. Um, and when everyone's going to die pretty soon, people are a little bit less hesitant to tell you what's on their mind, you know. So we had, you know, my sister and I were always looking for families and looking for love and looking to be accepted. Hi, Sharona. So nice to see you. Um, Force says, when we can't critically examine what we are doing or believing, sometimes it is a slippery slope. Boy, that's a great way of putting it, Force. That's a really good way of putting it. Um, yeah, you can't be critical of a damn thing in a cult. There is no room for critical thought in a cult. You might as well just toss that. Sherrick AF. How you doing, D? Thank you for my bear hugs. Thank you, D. Yeah. Uh, David said, I was not speaking to my father when he passed. I have deep regrets. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, when my father passed, I wasn't. I mean, you know, you always wish like there was no way I could ever look at him and not wish things were different. You know, because that's what I did. But they just never were. And outside of a couple things, um, he was horrible. So, uh, it was really hard. Like it was really, really hard. It was really difficult for me to be okay, like with not feeling the empathy when, like, on the last day I saw my father. I had to pick him up off the ground, um, and I knew he was gone that day or within a couple days, and and he looked at me like he was scared, and that's the last time I ever saw him. Um, and I felt horrible because I just was like empty, you know. I wasn't able to generate any anything really. It was just like, oh well, you know. I felt bad later because my mom was devastated, right? But that's just me feeling bad for my mom. And I loved my dad the 10 times he was cool. You know what I'm saying? It was like he actually was really, really nice the last 6 months. Thank you so much, hey girl, for that floating heart. My dad was really, really great like the last 6 months. Not all of it. Actually, he was horrible for a little bit of that. I have to put an asterisk there. He was horrible to my mom because he told my mom the only reason she had cancer is she was out ethics. That pissed me off. That really pissed me off. Um, but other than that, he was probably the best mannered he'd ever been up and for that last 6 months. And I think he saw that my mother and my sister and I ignored him like we didn't care. We did not care. We were going to be as loving as we wanted to be. We didn't give a shit if he liked and didn't like what it didn't matter. Okay, if he wanted to be a part of something or not didn't matter. We were just like my sister and my mom and I. Boom. So, um, I don't even know where the hell I was going with this. But yeah, just I'm saying, just I really believe it's not about gains. There are no gains that mean anything. What it is having that group, you know, where everyone has been through it and they know, you know. And I get that. That is valuable. And no, like I said, who's lining up to take those L's, especially if you're 10 years from being dead. Like, why bother? Just go have fun with your friends and do what you want to do. You know. Oh, Rennie, your dad lived with you the last year of his life. Okay. Yeah. Well, that was the other thing. A girl said you were a great son and he never deserved it. He actually, because I was getting them. My mom was in incredible pain, could barely stand up, so I knew she couldn't cook or do nothing. And my dad was even worse. So I went and they literally lived off of Gelson's Deli for the last year. Um, I just got them so that way she didn't have to cook. She could just, and it was all the best stuff. And I was spending $160 a week and going to get it and bringing it to him every week. And I remember my dad told my mom, he's like, holy shit, like we've got an amazing son. And it's like he doesn't know. I didn't do this for his ass, you know. It was for my mom. If my mom would have been, if my mom was already passed, I wouldn't have brought him shit. And it's like, even today, I don't feel bad about it because it's not like an overwhelming thing, but it's sort of like he was horrible when he could have been good. He could have been good or bad, and he was bad 92% of the time. So what do I care? It's like, I'm sorry. I can't, I would. But it doesn't like eat me up. Like, I'm like, I just don't really spend a lot of time thinking about the guy, you know? Um, Rennie, he created the rift, not you, not your mom, not your sister. Yeah, yeah. Sharona says, no matter how old we are, there is no replacing the missed love we deserve from a parent. Um, that is what you yearn, grieve for when you lose a parent that never was able to give what a child deserves. Yeah, I mean, it's not like I don't. When I think about him, I think about him in a way where it's like I wish things were like if I think of something good he did, I would just be like, why couldn't that continue? Like, you know, why did you choose to be horrible? Like, you know, why did you choose to not love? Right? Like, that's so weird. Um, so weird. Yeah, I mean, to his credit, you could say, my father didn't want me, so he acted like someone who didn't want me. My mom who raised me made him go get me. I was actually on my way to foster care. So my mom was like, "This is insanity. Let's go. We're going to get him right now." But my dad didn't want me, so It's not even like he really operated in anything different than that, you know. Thank you so much, Force. Force. Oh, baby. Cheryl says, me trying to think of when my dad was nice. um, I don't know if you guys saw my Ruin episode where I went back to Celebrity Center um, for the first time, you know, and when it because it used to be on La Brea, so since 1980, first time I had been back there, and it looks exactly the same, but it's a gym. And uh, where the video starts is like 100 yards down the street, where there's a liquor store and an ice cream place that have been there since the mid 70s, early 70s, and I used to go there all the time. Anyway, I got a because I grew up in a health food family, right? So I mean, most of the stuff I ate was awful, but my dad loved ice cream, so he got me a double scoop dipped in chocolate, the badass $8 scoop, back when that was $1 million, and I went to lick it right when we walked outside. And I remember this, the memory came right back to me as I was standing there in the beginning of that stream. And I think I even tell you guys. But you should go check that out if you haven't seen it. But also check it out and see what I'm talking about here. Anyway, I licked it and it fell off onto what might be the most disgusting parking lot in America. I mean, there is Ebola on every square millimeter of this parking lot. And I don't give a shit. I would immediately grab that thing and put it back on. There's no way I'm missing out on this, right? And my dad was like, "Oh hell no!" And threw that shit out, and we went right back in, and it got me another one. Like that was I'm 57, and I still think about it because it was so cool from someone who was horrible. So it's like, why can't you just be like that? So those are the thoughts I have. Forrest says, Eric, it sounds like you've done a lot of processing, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. Yeah. Thanks for letting us hold that with you. Thank you so much. Lori Marie, my mother never wanted me. It sucked, but there are just bad parents out there. Yeah. Sorry about that, Lori. That sucks. Um, Sharona says, the loss is knowing there is no chance of ever getting what you deserve, even though you'd come to know it would likely never happen. Yeah. That smallest bit of hope that it could is forever dashed. Yeah. Um, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Um, Forrest says, at least it made me a better parent to my girls. That's cool. I was always worried. I really believe in retrospect I would have been an amazing father, um, but I just figured I was damaged, pretty freaking bad. And I didn't want anyone to, I didn't know what's coming either. And um, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so Say a prayer for my Hopi. I hope the blood tests come back good. I mean, I know she's gonna have, but if and then what I hope is that we can if we can help her thyroid, she'll lose weight, and that'll help the heart murmur. And then also pray when I spend this $1,500 in a couple more days. Jesus. Um, that her heart is good, so I can get her spend another 2 grand on her teeth, just like I'm spending 2 grand on Monday on Roxy's teeth. Holy shit. Um. Anyway, I just want Hopi to be good. That's all. Well, we love you, Lori Marie, and you belong with us. We're all very nice, damaged people. Sharona, thank you. You didn't deserve that, and the fact that you took care of him in the end is amazing and speaks to the person you are, despite his stupid arse. All right. Hope he should be on all the prayer chains. You know what, David? All we need is a whole lot of Flex Seal, and we can fix ourselves. I'm going to do the Flex Seal rundown. And I came up with the be cause rundown. So you're being cause. So you're controlling what's happening around you. But we're just going to put two. We're going to just have one space in there, one extra space. It's really the because rundown. Why do I need to do the because rundown? Because you need to do it. I can't believe it. Miscavige, you got to use that. The because rundown. Nice. The Flex Seal rundown. Lori Marie, you're absolutely right. I think we have a lot more patience. Bilster likes the because rundown. I mean, it just sounds so good. I know they could have a flyer by next Tuesday that would just be awesome. That's too damn funny. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you guys, and I hope I got the questions. Whenever you do have a question, you know, if I don't answer it, whatever, just write it down or something. So, like, even when you're watching other shows, like, let's say you're watching another stream and something comes up that you have a question about regarding Scientology, write it down. And when we have these Q&As, which I'll do more often, hopefully once a week, say, you can fire them off, you know. Oh, 2026, look at that. That's so neat. Oh my God, a New Year's Eve one? That's so bitchin'. Thank you so much, Rennie. Sherrick AF. Yes, absolutely love you, baby, and I'm going to be there soon. Can't wait. Just need my kitties to be okay, that's all. And otherwise, have a wonderful day. I might actually do something here a little bit later too, so don't be surprised if you see me again. Love you guys. Until next time.